Hi there, students. Stockholm Syndrome. Okay, Stockholm Syndrome is a situation where somebody who's been taken prisoner starts to like, to trust, to become friends with the person or the people who have taken them. Let's see, this comes from a bank robbery in Stockholm in 1973, where there was a robbery at the Credit Banken in Stockholm, and the bank robber held the employees hostage for about 5 days. He asked for the release of a companion of his who was in prison, and by the end of this siege, the people who had been held hostage, they refused to give evidence in court against the people who had held them, and this is the result, or was the result of Stockholm Syndrome. They say that only about 8% of hostage victims show evidence of this, but this Stockholm Syndrome is a hostage developing positive never toward the captor, and this is somebody they never they've never met before, and the hostage believes that these people are or their captor is or human. They believe in their humanity, and they stop viewing them as a threat, and they then take the same views as this person. Now, there are various other examples of Stockholm through history. I think one of the more famous ones is Patty Hearst. Patty Hearst was the granddaughter of Randolph Hearst, the publishing giant, and in 1974 she was kidnapped by the SLA, and I think about a year later she participated in a bank robbery with these terrorists. So, Stockholm Syndrome. It's a situation where, or a psychological syndrome where a person being held captive begins to identify with their captor, and this person becomes more and more unsympathetic to the authorities or the police. They say that this is a survival technique. It's a way to psychologically deal with the situation. So those civilians which support the transgressors suffer from Stockholm Syndrome, and it's understandable. Okay, so Stockholm Syndrome. This is it's a type of trauma bonding, a captivity syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome arose from a bank robbery in Sweden. It's ironical that somebody who gets Stockholm Syndrome could fall in love with their kidnapper. Okay, so Stockholm Syndrome, I think I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it a 6 in formality, but it is what it is. So I think you can use it anywhere. So, Stockholm Syndrome.